Hey. So, cool. Back today to do some more compose work, and what I think we're going to do today is take a look at some more refactoring. Oh, let me just change. Got my monitoring on, and that's really annoying. Cool. So, right. So what we're going to do today is some more compose refactoring. I think that's what we've been doing for the last few days, and it'll probably be what we're doing for the next however long we're doing this. For some context again, there's kind of been some, like, as I've been learning compose and I've been sort of taking a look at how things work, I've been just building this app and things got a little bit out of hand, a little bit messy, so I'm trying to make a conscious effort to improve things. So what I'll do is I'll spin up an emulator, and over the last few days we've only done a few small bits. We've only sort of taken a look at using a couple of bits of code. So what I want to do is today is going to break things down a bit more and tackle some stuff that has been bothering me for a while. So why's my app not? It's not launching. Let's try running through here. Cool. So if you haven't seen the app before or haven't seen it in the last few days, there are a collection of, on this screen, the user can add an item, and the user can sort of switch through each of those screens and add data on those items. So here we have this creation screen. We can add the name. We can also add the categories, the frequency of the usage, and some other stuff. And each of these screens is very similar. And today I'm hoping to kind of bring some of that similarities together. So as these steps change, we create a new composable, and that is what's set as the content of the screen. However, at the moment, each one of those is its own completely separate composable function, which works and it's good, but there's a lot of repetition and there's a lot of stuff that can probably be tidied up and reuse some of the code. So let's just run through what we have so far. So for this name one, we've seen some of this code over the last few days. We had this scrollable column. This was actually replaced. We used to have this thing called in Compose. I think it changed in one of the recent versions. We used to have this vertical scroller. I think to bring a bit more like similarity between column component and scrollable element to it. There's now this scrollable column. So that basically takes a collection of children, it's a column, and those children then live inside of a scrollable container. As you can see, if we look at this scrollable column, there's a column in there, and our children just become the children of the scrollable column. So what we want to do here is try and make this a bit simpler. So if we go to the next screen, we have this category collection. So inside of this category collection, we could probably rename this composable function a bit better. We have very similar stuff. We have a scrollable column, we have a spacer, we have a title, we then have another spacer, and then we have the body of the screen. And if we go back to the previous one, you can see we have exactly the same kind of thing. We have a scrollable column, we have a spacer, a title, a spacer, and then the next title. If we go to the frequency screen, wherever that may be, you can see exactly the same kind of thing here. We have an extra spacer that we probably don't need. We have a scrollable column, we have a title, we have a spacer, and we have the body. I'm not going to go for each of the other ones. We can go through them visually and see that we have exactly the same thing on every single screen. There's a lot of repetition, and to be honest, why can't we just reuse some of that and make things a bit easier? The aim here is I want to try to bring stuff together and tidy up this code. So yeah, let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by making a new composable function. I'm going to make sure I start properly. Let's do it private for now. We can always change it if we need it in tests. So let's do it creation step composable. Let's just call it creation step, and the creation step kind of reflects what we are displaying, and then that can take a body, the children for example, and display them in its body. So this creation step will be the whole screen, and then anything in that body will be from like this bit downwards. Here it will be the category selection, and then on the next screen it will be the frequency. So that will be the body of the screen, and everything else will be an element of that. So what we're going to start with here is by just copying and pasting. I'm sure we're all familiar with doing this in our code, copying and pasting. And what we'll do is here we can see that we're just going to remove the stuff that's the body of that screen. So in this case, that is this text field and anything else underneath of it. So this would be the children. I'm actually going I was going to rename it body, but we'll leave it as children because that is consistent with the rest of the Compose APIs at the moment. So at the moment we have this reusable scrollable column, we have a spacer, we have a title, we have another spacer, and then we have, my bad, that is the body. We have the children of the composables. So the only thing here that still isn't generic is this title. So what we'll do is we'll just pass in a title. Maybe we can say it's just a string resource, and we'll pass in the title, and then that now is generic. So what we could do is we could say now we've got this, we've got our scrollable column, we've got our spacer, the title which will reflect whatever's passed into it. We now also have the other required spacer as well as the children that we want to show on that creation step. So what we'll do now is we're going to go ahead and use that. So here we could just say creation step, pass in the title, and then have the body. So this is our title, so we're going to go ahead and remove that and pass it in as a reference. And then what we can do now is take our rounded background box, cut that out, and stick it in our creation step composable. So there's obviously still a lot of code there because that is the body of the content, but this now means that the creation step becomes a bit more reusable across our screens. I didn't usually use apply changes, so let's see if this works. But so now, that's just a small improvement. There's probably more we can do here, but again, I think it's good not to try and abstract stuff too much. I think this is a good level of generalization. And I think if we try and generalize too much, it might get hard for us to create these creation steps and maintain them moving forward. So having that body as the bit we can manipulate and change, I think that's a good level so far. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at doing the next one. So the next one is the categories. So the categories we're going to look at now is this one. It's because I called it something else. I wasn't quite aware. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this to do the same kind of thing. So we have our title and we have our body. So I'm going to take our title out. We're going to pass it through as a title reference, and then we're going to remove the body of content, which will be our items and our flow row. So this is going to again take away all of that body content, and we're going to place it here, and that is going to be the stuff that we show. So again, we have our creation step, we have the categories, the title that we pass in, and then the rest of it is just our body content. Nothing special there. So we can go ahead and do the same thing again. So again, the scrollable column, where are we? Can't remember why this one has a spacer. Yeah, scrollable column. So we had this spacer here. I I don't know why that's there. I'm going to remove it and maybe we can see what it looks like without it. Maybe we don't need it. So what we'll do here is we'll pass in our title. We'll do that, and then we'll take our body of our content, cut it out, and then stick it in the creation step. And then remove that again from our content. So again, we have the title showing, and we also have the text fields that we were showing before for this screen, which it's this one. We go on to the next one, which is very similar. Again, we can probably have some reuse there in future. We're going to do exactly the same thing here. We're going to do our creation step. We're going to pass in our title. And this is getting very repetitive, but it's all for the good cause. We'll do the same again. We'll cut our content, take that out, and we'll do that. Finally, what's this one? Frequency. And we do exactly the same thing here, and that will be the last one that we use this creation step for. The final one, we could do it for the final one. Let's do this, just quickly do this as well. Slider and text. Creation step. That should be good. And then the final one is this screen. We could reuse it there. We might as well. While we're here, we can see what it looks like. Yeah, because we're using the same text. It's not even a string resource. Let's do a title. Finished. We can say all done. All done. And we'll go and add that. Title finished. Stick that in. And then what we can do now is this is our body. We'll go ahead and stick that in the body of our creation step. Cool. So there's a lot of changes. Good changes. Some good tidying up. Again, kind of finding that balance between generalizing it and not making it flexible, but not having it too restrictive. Which I think we've done here. It feels like a good kind of generalization. This is where we might find out that it's all broken. That feels good. I'm happy with that, actually. I thought there was going to be something that maybe didn't quite work or something that had messed up, but that feels cool. I think we've probably saved quite a lot of code there as well. It makes it a bit easier to understand. Like when we open this nameset composable, we now know exactly what's going on. And to be honest, we could probably even take this one step further. For example, this. So here we have this step counter, which is this bit here at the top, and we also have a box that defines the body, the content body. So what we could actually do here is have the creation step. Oh no. That gets a bit... Yeah, I'm going to stop myself there for now, and we can think about that one. I was thinking rather than define the creation step every single time, we could have it here, but then we have the title, and then it gets a bit messy. So I think we'll leave it where it was. We won't do anything else for that for now until we've done a bit more work elsewhere and see how things are going then. One thing I did just think of, how we do for time, 10 minutes. I'm not going to add any tests for that yet, the creation step stuff. I think eventually we'll add steps for each step to check each step is there. I think the creation step composable that we just created is more of just a tidy up and more of a fixed content, so I think that's fine. What we'll do now is I did just think, is this slider. So that's okay. So it looks like this is broken, but there's a difference. So that's meant to be aligned to the center, but it looks like it's not. So what's the difference? I've just copy and pasted this just so I can compare. The difference. Content width, padding, content style, text style, color white. That looks exactly the same. Something's different. Oh, that's why, because we haven't done it here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. We missed one. I'm going to stick this in. We need to set the gravity. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stick that there. That's what we want for now. I'm going to remove all this stuff. And if we go away. If we go to this, so at the moment we don't have any kind of gravity set on our scrollable column, and this is basically like how things are positioned. And we want to set the gravity to horizontal to be in the center, because everything, as you can see, like the text is centralized, everything is in the center, but most stuff appears to be in the center because it's fitting the max width. Like the slide is fitting the max width, the boxes are fitting the max width, like the containers, but this text is just wrapping the content. So we need to set the gravity to be in the horizontal, so that stuff that doesn't fill the width is going to be positioned in the middle. So if we rerun that should fix that. So we broke one thing, but it could have been worse. Could be much worse. Yeah, that's better. That's cool. Nice. 9 minutes. What can we do in 9 minutes? One thing I do want to do actually is just again simplify something else. Is this slider and this text. I'm not sure if I can do it all in 9 minutes. Ideally, because these are exactly the same, we have a slider and we have a text label that changes as the slider changes. So these are just an array of items, and the current text will be set from the array index based on the selected position in the slider. The slider in the composer is a really neat component. Not too much to set up. You set the current value, like the current position. So that'd be like 0, 1, 2. You can set the value range, so how many values should there be, and you can see here like each value position is indicated by a little dot indicator. You can say the number of steps that are required, so here the number of so discrete value, so I think the number of steps is the number of steps between 0 and the last value, so we have 3 steps here, which is quite customizable, and you can really like control what slider looks like and how it operates. And finally, the value changes, you want to know about it, so we invoke our function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly create a new composable quickly. We do it fun. What should we call it? It's a slider. It's a create step slider. I'm just going to call it that for now. We can always come back and change it. I want to be mindful of time. So the reason I want to reuse this is because, like the slider and the label, that is something we can easily reuse, and we can basically cut that code in half and still keep it like flexible enough to be reused. All we're going to do today is the slider, and we'll come back and like maybe in the next stream we'll do the text as well. Just to keep things flowing. So what we need to pass here is the value, which is a float, not a flop. And then we also need the callback for when the value changes. So no value changed on value change. And what we'll do here is is we'll pass a callback, and we'll get the value as an integer. Cool. So what we can do now is we can set this to be value, and we can set on value changed, and we'll just call that and passing the value back. And yeah, the slider on both creation steps is the same steps, the same value, the same modifiers, the same color, so we can reuse that. So what I'm going to do here then is I'm going to use my creation step slider. I'm going to pass in my value. I'm going to pass in my on value change. And I can remove that. And that's cool. And we can do the same thing. There's another slider up here, and we can do exactly the same thing here. So we'll change this callback to the on frequency changed, and we'll change this to frequency count. Don't even need that. To float, and we can do the same again. So as you can see, this slider is exactly the same as the last one. So we've just cut that code in half and reused it. We've created our own little composable and utilised this neat little slider component. Yeah, can we do the text now? Yeah, okay, if we're quick. Let's do this text quickly. Yeah, can we? It's going to complain. So we'd need an array and also the current value. Array res, options, array string. Oh no, that's an int, isn't it? Ah. It's all going wrong now. So then what we can do is we can copy and paste our text value. We can place it in here. We can take our array options. We can get our value that we've passed in. That's the current value. And then that will be the currently selected option. So we can then pass in this array resource, which is our options. And we can remove this. And then we're going to do exactly the same here. So again, we pass in our options. Why did I do that? And then we should again be able to remove this text, and voila. We've now got, again, cut that code and hop it down even more. We've got this common creation step slider, which is a slider with a label, and the label updates whenever the slider changes. So now that's a little bit of reused code, and it should work. Fingers crossed. Famous last words. It should work fine, and yeah, it should be really cool to have that in place. A little bit more simplification, and yeah, it feels like this session's been quite productive. Really happy with some of the changes we've made. Yes, it works. Nice. Wow, I'm happy. That's cool. Nice. So yeah, I'm really happy with this stream. What we've done, we've created a creation step composable that kind of generalizes what a creation step is made up of. We've got this shared scrollable column, the spacing, the title, and the children, like the body of the creation step, and now every step is using that. I think that's a really good step in tidying this up. We've now also created, just now, is this creation step slider, which is a simple slider and a text label, and not a huge complex component, but we're using it in two places and they're exactly the same, so it made sense for us to reuse that and create our own little custom composable utilizing both the slider component and kind of like a dynamic text component using the different options that are available to select. So yeah, that's really cool. I hope that was insightful and fun to watch. Nothing else to do today. I think we'll leave it there, and yeah, maybe catch you in the next stream, and feel free to reach out if there are any questions. Yeah, and other than that, enjoy your day, stay safe, and catch you soon.